There are certainly basic things people always think about before retiring, like saving money and thinking about maybe what they plan to do with their time. But in reality, there are factors you need to consider that could be a game changer, not necessarily in a good way when it comes to calling it quits from the workforce. So in this segment, sponsored by Safe Harbor Retirement, President Corey Sickles running down a few of those key factors. There are a lot more things than most people think about, right, Corey?
There are. I mean, we're going to talk about a lot of those factors today, but, you know, I think what everyone worries about is, because when I sit down with a client or a prospect the first time, you know, they'll say, hey, am I okay?
Yeah.
Or they're going to say, is there a chance I'm going to run out of money? That's everyone's worst nightmare, is to be able to run out of money.
Yeah.
So I think some of the factors we're going to talk about today can kind of put you in a position where you're not going to run out of money.
Okay. And is that the biggest problem you see, is people don't plan? Is that what you would say?
Well,
or don't think about all these things?
Yeah, they don't plan. And here's the one thing that I probably would say too is, you know, times have changed. If you go back to previous generations too, right? So it's kind of all up to you. You don't have any, most people don't have pensions anymore. So it's kind of like, you know, how much did I save? You know, I might get, you know, you're going to get Social Security. And the other side of it is I think what everyone's worried about, and I know a lot of my clients, their parents are going through this, and that's long-term care, right?
Long-term care.
You know, you have about a 70% chance of going into some type of facility, you know, if you're 65 or older today. So, and that can really derail a retirement plan.
Okay, so let's talk about, in general, the key factors, long-term care being one of them,
yes,
right?
That's exactly right.
And then what else? Because, you know, and we'll kind of break these down, but I know that, you know, taxes are another big, huge thing, right?
Taxes are a huge thing. What, you know, people always tell me, you know, well, when I retire, I'm going to be in a lower tax bracket. But, you know, if you're going to earn 70, 80% of what you earn, you know, today, odds are you're in the same tax bracket. And we're at the lowest tax, you know, the lowest taxes that we've ever seen. I know a lot of people still complain about taxes, but they're still the lowest they've ever been. And we've been, you know, there's been a lot of money going out over the last, you know, 3 or 4 years. At some point in time, taxes are probably going to go up. So you need to make sure that you have a tax solution to be able to create some type of tax-free income, you know, in retirement. So.
And you come with different ways of doing that too. It's not just a one-size solution where people say, I need tax planning. I mean, there are different tools you can use for that, right?
That's right. Everyone's situation's different, and we might have different solutions, you know, from one client to another client.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, what we try to do, you know, I'm a firm believer, it's not much, you know, it's not what you make, it's what you keep. And the best way to be able to do that is have some type of tax-free money in retirement.
All right, Corey, inflation is another big key factor.
Yeah, inflation is probably one of the things that I don't think people realize. Now, the last couple years, I think everyone understands that now.
Yeah, it
right?
kind of hit us in the face.
Yeah, exactly
yes.
Right. You know, 8% last year, and it's still, you know, they're trying to contain it. But, you know, if you retire today, and let's just say you want to make $75,000, 20 years from now, it's got to be up to $114,000 because to have the same spending power at a 2% inflation rate. So you need to be able to consider that your income needs to go up in retirement. And if you don't do it the right way, you might be in a situation where you do run out of money later on in life.
Okay. All right, Corey, volatile stock market, which has to play a big role in saving enough for retirement. What is that? How does that factor in?
Yeah, so, you know, when we start talking, first of all, what I would say is you need to make sure that you're allocated the correct way based upon your risk level. Everyone has different risk levels, you know, and the one thing is you can't be in a situation where you don't have any money in stocks too. You know, over time, long term, stocks do have a good return, and that's going to allow you to keep up with inflation. So even though you might be a conservative investor, a portion of it still needs to be in some type of stock portfolio.
Okay.
However, you don't want to be so overly aggressive in it that you're experiencing like what we're experiencing right now, or like we, you know, did in 2022, where, you know, you don't want to lose 20% of your overall net worth because you weren't allocated the correct way. So that's the big key is to make sure you know what your risk level is and being able to make sure that matches your investment portfolio.
All right, Corey, the final tip is regarding how much money you withdraw early on in the process.
That's exactly right. You know, the one thing you don't want to do is take too much money out soon. I know a lot of people want to retire in their 60s and I'm going to travel and I'm going to do all this type of stuff. But, you know, if you go outside of your budget, you should need to be able to budget for that travel. If you go outside of that, it's amazing what a $10,000 or $15,000 withdrawal to go on vacation or to potentially do something at the house,
right.
you know, what that actually means, you know, 15 or 20 years later. So, you know, when you work with an advisor, we're going to try to put you on something that's going to be able to meet those needs that you might want to be able to do. But we also want to make sure that you're going to have that money there when it does matter, you know, in your 80s or 90s, because people are living longer.
Okay, all good advice. SafeHarborOH.com, complimentary consultation. So reach out to Corey and his team today. Thanks, Corey.
Thank you.